It's a pleasure to have Ian with us today, and we're going to talk about a number of products. The first one we'll delve into is the mono mouse. Can we talk about the three modes when it comes to the mono mouse?
Yes, certainly. The monomouse, actually the product directly called the monomouse is a single mode product. And what you're referring to there with the three modes is a product that we call the monomouse RM. So let me just expand on that. The monomouse is, with single mode, is a single button. You just simply press the button and that's it. The product works. And you use that for basic reading of text, in other words, newspaper, looking at utility bills, those kind of things. If for some people, perhaps with macular degeneration, they prefer to see things where there is less light being emitted from the screen, and we're talking here about television screen. And so as opposed to having black text on what would be typically then most of your screen would be white, you change the mode so that the text that is black becomes pure white. And that means that there's a lot less light being emitted from the screen. So that one we typically call RM, which is reverse mode. We also sometimes refer to it as MD, directly as macular degeneration mode. So that second mode, when you press it as a second button on the device, you press the button one time and it goes from the regular view to this reverse mode view, giving you pure white text on a pure black background. The third mode that you mentioned, if you press the button again, it reverses that to become pure black text on a pure white background. And the difference between that and normal view means if you're looking at a typical, say for example, a utility bill, it may have red, it may have some colors of text, it may have blue, it may have gray. In other words, there's a whole load of different colors, and especially if it's gray, it's not going to be as sharp and clear to see. So this third mode changes everything to pure black on pure white. So your three modes there are regular view, which is in grayscale, but it's looking at anything on the page. The first mode is white text on black background, and the third mode is pure black on a white background. And it's all controlled by one button. Hopefully, that actually sounds way more complicated than it is. I think I probably made quite a meal out of a description of a simple task.
And how does this work specifically as far as plugging the mono mouse into a television, so on and so forth?
There is a yellow jack, a yellow plug, very typically called an RCA jack. But anyway, the small round yellow plug. And that plugs into pretty much every television. I can't say we've ever seen a television that doesn't have the compatible RCA input. And so you literally plug this one single small round connector into your television, then turn the television to that input channel. And that is typically either called a game, or it'll be called video 1 or video 2, that sort of thing. That's usually on the remote control or on the actual television set. So pressing that button switches it to display our product's image. So the total setup, the very first time when you get the product, you would plug it into your television, you would connect the power pack, which would be connected to the wall. Now the whole equipment is set up to read anything. If you were, as an example, watching television or your television was switched off, you'd simply switch your television on, press that video channel, press one button on our product, and you start reading. So it really is a kind of a one-button operation.
What are the magnification capabilities of the mono mouse?
Very approximately, it's about 1x or a bit over 1x per inch. So we typically give a couple of examples. On a 20-inch television, it's about 14 times magnification. On a 40-inch television, it's about 28 times magnification. And similarly, if you went up to a 60-inch TV, you'd be then looking at about 40 times magnification. So it's about actually 1 to 1.5 inches per magnification level. So the easy one to refer to is 40-inch TV, about 28 times magnification.
Ian, what would the pricing information be for the mono mouse?
The mono mouse is $149.
And now we'll move on to a very similar product. It's the color mouse. What would be any different features with the color mouse from the mono mouse other than simply color images with the color mouse?
Indeed, the color images is the one single difference. So as opposed to things being, and we refer to it as mono, in other words, monochrome, or you can say grayscale. So with the mono mouse, everything is gray. With the color mouse, everything is in true color. Now, the benefits of having true color is when you're looking perhaps again at a magazine or some kind of advertising material perhaps, or even things like utility bills where they do have multicolored font, etc., then of course having that thing of color is typically quite desirable. A lot of people like to see things in full color. It's quite natural. So you may think, well, why would you have the monomouse then? The reason for the monomouse, some people with vision impairment actually find grayscale, in other words, black and white, to be easier. So that's the key difference. One is mono, so in other words, everything is kind of black and white, it's in gray, versus color, which puts everything into color, and of course, therefore makes everything look, brighter and more natural.
Now, you've given us the pricing information for the mono mouse, but I imagine the color mouse would be a bit more expensive because of the color.
It is, yes. The color mouse is $198, so just under $50 extra, $198.
Now let's move on to another product, the kitchen mouse. Now I imagine this is useful for those that want to work around the kitchen. So what's special about the kitchen mouse?
The kitchen mouse, very originally, we had a slightly different name for it because actually the kitchen mouse does do a lot of things. So I'll try to keep this brief, but originally the product was called the MPD. The reason we changed the name to the kitchen mouse is that we started finding a lot of people were using them in the kitchen. And so we thought, okay, well, let's call it a kitchen mouse because that seems to be more applicable. And the nice part about it is that the entire surface is a very easy wipe down surface. Sometimes, you're handling food, gets a little bit messy or whatever, so it's very, very easy to keep the product clean and so on. It's also extremely light. It weighs only about 28 ounces. So some people hang it on the kitchen wall. There are brackets where you can hang it on the wall. So it can be very, very easily placed on a wall, or it can be on the work surface, but typically it's ended up in the kitchen, people using it there. At the same time, a lot of people do use it in any other room of the house. So we've heard about the products being used just about everywhere you could imagine. So why was it originally called the MPD? First of all, as the kitchen mouse, or as the MPD, it is a magnifier, so it uses a housing very, very similar, you can say identical, to the mono mouse or the color mouse, but this is a complete integrated standalone system. So you have a small remote control, and with that remote control, you press one button to turn the entire system on. Basically, the MPD part of it is that in addition to being a magnifier, if you use a USB stick, you can also use it as a picture 12-inch screen that can display photographs. And some people like to do that because they'll put, say, pictures of their grandchildren or pictures of whatever onto a USB stick. And now when you're not using it as a magnifier, you can be using it as a 12-inch picture frame to display pictures. So it's getting more use out of the product. The third thing it will do in the functions is it can also display a clock. So now what you have is a 12-inch screen, which is a very large digital clock. So we built those kind of three functions in. Some people like that. They do like to look at pictures, or they do like to leave it with the clock showing. But it just means as opposed to having a piece of equipment that's only one function, i.e. magnification, you now have multifunction, so you have pictures and magnification and a large clock. But going back to the basic thing, it's a 12-inch screen that is with a magnifier, so you've got one single button. If you want to look at cooking instructions, if you want to look at your utility bills, you want to read the mail, whatever you want to do, you press one button and instantly you have a large clear image of whatever it is you want to magnify.
And what are the magnification capabilities with the kitchen mouse?
It is quite close to a 10x magnification. So our standard product is 10x. That pretty well accommodates, seems, most people are happy with that level on that size of screen. But I will just add that the way that we work as a company, if we have somebody looking for a much higher magnification or a much lower magnification, simply talk to us and we can arrange that. So if somebody says, well, no, 10x would be way too strong for me, I do need a product, but I need much less than that, we can arrange that as a kind of a special, almost like a custom product, as it were. And the same if somebody needs a much stronger magnification. So I just mention that in case anyone's listening and thinking, well, 10x just isn't right for me. 10x is the standard, but we do have options that we can arrange more or less for people.
And what is the pricing information for the kitchen mouse?
The total within the kitchen mouse range, we have 3 different products that range from $499 for the basic mono product through to $599, which is what we call the Kitchen Mouse MD, which is full color and with the reverse mode. In other words, the white text on black background that we talked about before. So $499 through to $599.
And now let's move on to our final product. That would be the Maggie. Now this is a large screen, ultra lightweight, portable electronic magnifier. What could this product be used for?
The Maggie is actually a kind of very exciting kind of a product. That it's, first of all, as you say, it's a 5-inch screen, so it's a large viewing area, so it's a good size product. And yet at the same time, it's ultra thin. It's well under half an inch thick. So it's very, very easy to slip into a shirt pocket, into a pants pocket, into a purse. So it's very, very, you could say very, very portable. So the thing with this, it can be used really anywhere. It can be, a lot of people do use them in the house as opposed to, an alternative to things like the monomouse, etc. So anywhere within the house. But the key thing is that when you go out, you can just slip it in your pocket, and when you go to the shops or you go to a library or you go to a restaurant, you have a very, very good clear magnifier. So, as I mentioned, it's half an inch thick, so it slips very easily into a pocket. The screen on it is made with a product which is called Gorilla Glass. Gorilla Glass is a very hardened kind of a surface, which means if you were to put it in your pocket along with coins or keys or other things that might scratch it, Gorilla Glass you effectively can't scratch. So the nice part about that, although the product is very, very thin and very, very light, it's also very, very durable in so much that you can't scratch it or damage it. A couple of other things with it is the battery life. Once you've charged it, the unit will run for around 6 hours. So effectively you go out in the morning and you can do a lot of reading and a lot of looking, a lot of things. 6 hours, that is a very, very, very long time for actual magnification. So 6 hours of battery life. There is also, and of course there are LEDs with it. So if you're in a restaurant and it's quite dim lighting, there are powerful LEDs which will completely illuminate the menu or whatever you're reading. And then if I switch over to the supermarket, with a supermarket you may want to pick up things like bottles or packets or other items that you want to perhaps read instructions or read ingredients. The way that the leg works, it has a flip-out leg at the back of the product. The way that the leg works is, and you can flip it out basically with one finger, and when you then touch that leg against the surface of anything you're looking at, it is in perfect focus. And that is extremely good to use because magnifiers typically, if you think of a very, an old-style glass magnifier, you would have a handle on it, but it's difficult to hold the handle accurately above what you're trying to read. So with this flip-out leg, it's actually touching the surface of what you want to read, so everything is always in perfect focus. And then when you finish reading, you just simply, with your finger, just flip the leg back. And so you can really do this, you do it almost subconsciously. The product's in your hand, you flip the leg out, you look at something, when you finish, just flip the leg back, slip it in your pocket, and carry on. So those are some of the initial key things of the extensive battery life, the large screen, thin profile, very durable, and the leg.
How could this product help those with macular degeneration?
On the top of the product, there are 3 buttons. The first button on the left, you press and hold for about 2 or 3 seconds. That switches the unit on and off. The button in the middle is actually what we call the MD mode button. So give that one press and it goes again to pure white text on a pure black background. So for MD mode on there, it really is a kind of an awesome image. It's a very, very sharp, perfect black and white image. So yeah, we call that the MD mode. That's great for anyone with macular degeneration. Press that mode again and you get back to pure black and white text again. Press it again and you get back to full color. So the MD is built in there.
What's the pricing information for the Maggie?
$395.
Ian, how can someone join the Bierley Vision Club?
Bierley Vision Club is a concept that we started a while back with the idea, and there's a number of benefits of the Vision Club. Basically, the Vision Club, the membership of the Vision Club is $14.95 per month. And what you get for that $14.95 as a member is access to borrow any of our products. So as an example, the Maggie that I just mentioned at $395, a Vision Club member could borrow that product within the membership at $14.95. The way that it works is what sometimes happens, somebody will join the club and they will think, I want to use a mono mouse or I want to use a color mouse or whatever. And then they may think, well, just a minute, actually, I don't really want to read at home so much. I really want to read when I go out. And so you can simply swap the products. Instead of having a mono mouse or a color mouse, you would have a Maggie. There are ways within the membership you can have 2 products. But initially as a member, you choose a product. And let's say, for example, you try it for a few weeks or a couple of months or whatever the time period is, and you feel, just a minute, the idea was good, but this product really isn't working for me. If under typical circumstances you'd bought a product, well, 2 or 3 months down the road, of course, you own the product. There's nothing you can do. You own the product, you can give it away, you can do whatever, but you can't return it because you've had the product for a few months. With the Vision Club, you can have tried a product for weeks, months, whatever, and if you find at some point that it's now not working for you or you're not getting enough use out of it, you simply return the product, and you can either take a different product if you wish, or you could just simply cancel membership. The other very, very key kind of point with it, you're effectively future-proofing. We do have a number of people say, well, if I buy this product now, what happens in another year or 2 years or 3 years when my vision becomes worse? As a member of the club, you effectively can swap products, you can have changes to magnification. If you found that you prefer now just grayscale, but in the future you want the reverse mode, those kind of things, everything within the club, you can just, it's really pretty much like a library, like a book at a library. You can take a product, use it, return it, change it, upgrade it, anything you want to do, and every item that we have is included in the membership of the Vision Club.
Finally, Ian, how can our listeners get more information about Bierley products?
The easy way is to go to a new website that we just started, which is called BierleyMagnifiers.com. So we have Bierley.com, which is mainly focused on the Vision Club, but for the product purchase and product detailed information, it's a nice simple website, just simply shows the product, and there's more information and images and full descriptions about every item. But it's Bierley Magnifiers, all as one word, .com.
Thank you so much. We've been speaking with Ian Bierley, and that last name is spelled Bierley. He is CEO of Bierley Associates in San Jose, California. This is Eye on Vision.